Two words: spring cleaning. The WWE came to terms with the releases of 8 superstars today. Some not too shocking. One really, obviously was going to come sooner rather than later. So let's get right into this list and give my overall thoughts. So King Barrett, Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett, whichever you want to call him. We all knew his release was coming. His contract was up and is coming up. The WWE has decided to release him sooner rather than later, and that's a big miss. That is a huge loss for the WWE. There's a lot of promise around Wade Barrett during his time in the Nexus. I thought he had, over time, in the early stages of his career, I didn't think that he was going to be ready to become the WWE champion pretty soon, right out of the gate. I know the WWE was banking on him down the line to be one of the big champions. That turned out to be differently. They gave him a lot of runs as IC champion. He had a couple of rivalries here and there, most notably against John Cena when he was still with the Nexus. From there, I know he had a little beef with Adrian Neville, who is one of my favorite wrestlers on the roster right now. Most recently, League of Nations. He was part of the League of Nations stable, where he was noted as the weak link in the League of Nations, so they ended up kicking him out. Kind of sucks for Wade Barrett. A lot of people are saying, what is now next for King Barrett, Stu Bennett? TNA. I think TNA could be a likely pickup there for Wade Barrett. I think that they can end up, giving him that Drew Galloway treatment, becoming, one of the horribly booked wrestlers on the roster from the WWE to being the ultimate, main event star. I think the WWE failed to capitalize on Wade Barrett's full potential in the company, because he had, over time, he really, changed himself, a whole new appearance. He could have been the champion. I thought he would be a good, likely champion, roughly about, a year or so ago, as the whole Bad News Barrett gimmick, but I would drop the whole bad news thing and just go with, Wade Barrett. But he is now gone. He is now off doing his own thing. There's no official word yet if he's going to be continuing wrestling for a little while. He's not booked for any independent shows out of the gates. There's a couple of guys that actually got booked for wrestling appearances as soon as they got released from the company today. But Wade Barrett's one of them. But he's not going to be on any independent shows. So maybe in due time, Stu Bennett, Wade Barrett, can probably be either on a TNA Impact taping. He can be a shocking return, or he can be a shocking addition to TNA, because they need superstars. TNA is notorious from taking, fallen WWE superstars, and, Wade Barrett could be one of those guys. Next guy on the list, Damian Sandow. Damian Mizdow. A guy that a lot of people love. The WWE owed him a lot. He won Money in the Bank at one point. He got screwed over. In that storyline, did not win anything, went back down to below mid-card, barely seen on TV. He really got over with the fans as Mrs. Stunt Double, as Damian Mizdow. Did not really do anything afterwards. I know they try, putting it right after this whole thing with The Miz. They brought him back as his old original gimmick, the more proper and the intellectual savior of the masses gimmick. And we have not seen him back on TV ever since. I know his most recent match, I want to say, was in April last month, at the end of April last month against Baron Corbin on a SmackDown taping. And he got his ass kicked. Baron Corbin's going on doing good things right now. Yeah, he should have picked up, he should have at least a winning streak right now. But he doesn't. So, Damian Sandow is now out of the company. TNA could be calling his name. I think that there's two guys right there out of the gate that TNA could be going after. Next up, we got Santino Marella. Santino has not been an active wrestler on the roster. We've not seen him backstage. I guess he had one of those ambassador kind of roles in the company, but an ambassador role doesn't mean shit to anybody. You're just the person that carries a title. Santino got over with the fans. In his early days, there was a shocking, when he won the Intercontinental Champion from Umaga, I want to say around 2006 or 2006 time or 2005 time, as a guy in the crowd comes in, but with Bobby Lashley's help, he won the IC title. Santino Marella has a lot of, interesting, moments. Look at the WrestleMania moment with him, Snoop Dogg, and Maria Kanellis. I thought that was a pretty, for what it was, that was a pretty fun moment. We saw Maria make out with Snoop Dogg in the ring. But beyond that, Santino Marella had a couple of different roles down the line in the WWE. I know he was paired up with Beth Phoenix. From there, I think he actually won a tag team title with Vladimir Kozlov. They were a pretty interesting tag team, but Santino Marella recently just announced his retirement. I know he's opening up a whole gym now, so he's not, in any way, shape, or form now held to the WWE. He's not able to do his thing. So, there you go. Next up on our list, a couple of people are not really going to care. It's Cameron, former member of the Funkadactyls, never really got anything going. She went down to NXT. She did not, develop into anything. She was trying to develop into a whole new gimmick, a whole new star. Once she turned heel, when she got dropped from the Funkadactyls gimmick, no one liked her. She was kind of like early day Eva Marie. Eva Marie is in the process of changing, a whole lot of in-ring style. She's doing a great job there, but we're not here talking about Eva Marie. It's a discussion for another day. But Cameron is just not adapting to anything. I know she's doing a lot more like modeling or her YouTube channel, like a singing career. Not the greatest singer, but I'm not here to bash people. Whatever you want to do on your own free time is what you do on your own free time. So Cameron is one of the notably, maybe that, this is coming for a while. You decided not to do it, but this is WWE spring cleaning for the month or for the year. So over time, maybe something could be going about it. Next up, we got Hornswoggle. He's going to be going to Global Force Wrestling, whatever the fuck kind of promotion that is, because they haven't really done anything. Jeff Jarrett's all of a sudden trying to take people's money with this whole gold, turn money or gold money into gold or whatever the hell that's called. You buy gold bullion, and we all know the whole situation. Global Force Wrestling has not done shit. They have not announced a TV deal. They haven't announced nothing. Nothing's going about it. But Hornswoggle, dropping the Hornswoggle name, just going as Swoggle. He's going to GFW. Like I said, he had a pretty interesting run. His whole thing with DX was fun back in 2009. Finlay, his time with Finlay was pretty good. Then Vince McMahon's illegitimate son, I thought that segment was pretty funny, but I never really bought into it at all. So he's now on his way out. Alex Riley's on this list. Alex Riley was a guy who I thought could be, a decent mid-card champion. Over time he was, the Miz. He backed the Miz. He even was in the main event of WrestleMania and that got off of WrestleMania. Tried to rebuild himself in NXT lately. Was not really a good project. He's barely been on TV. Just nothing was going about Alex Riley. I know he had a feud with The Miz following him, dropping, his allegiance with The Miz, but like I said, nothing came about Alex Riley going down the line. There was some tease that maybe he could be pushed in NXT, and that never really came about. So, Alex Riley's on the way out. Maybe he can be one of those guys that can have, an impact in TNA. Maybe have like an Eli Drake kind of role. Maybe he can end up going to TNA and can, contend, because the WWE has already cleared out all the top talent in TNA. So maybe this is the opportunity for, TNA to jump on guys like, King Barrett, Damian Sandow, maybe even Alex Riley. Next up, we got El Torito. El Torito, I think he's actually been he was once originally with the company in '98. If you go back and watch the Royal Rumble in the opening contest, I think it was a mini Royal Rumble match, and El Torito was a part of that. I don't know if it was the same character. But yeah, El Torito is gone. They found him expendable after, they're repackaging, Los Matadores. And I think Carlito should be part of their whole new tag team, So, El Torito is no longer needed in the WWE, so he's going to be gone. And Zeb Coulter, since, Cesaro broke away from them, a long time ago. Jack Swagger didn't need him. He found expendable, just like Swoggle. He's going to end up going to GFW. And also Booker T is also booked for the same event. I think it's just for an appearance with the promotion. I'm not going to say if Booker T was released as well. I don't know for sure. But Zeb Coulter's added to this list. But like I said, ever since, Damian Sandow as Cesaro officially, walked away, or that whole tag team, broke apart, because I know Cesaro off doing this whole James Bond looking kind of movement now, and then he was once a tag team champion with Tyson Kidd, but he ended up, going down with injury. Jack Swagger's the only one that came about. I remember Zeb Coulter was managing him during his feud with Rusev. Then nothing really came about that. Jack Swagger after that was taken off TV for a little while, and then we saw him, miraculously come back, down the line. From there, he also, the returning Alberto Del Rio in that U.S. Open match against John Cena. I forgot which pay-per-view it was. He came out, having, equality for everybody. He started, pairing up with Alberto Del Rio for a while. and he actually won the United States title once John Cena officially left the company. I think to have surgery or something like that. But like I said, Alberto Del Rio did come back, in his return match since getting fired for that whole backstage incident. He won the U.S. title against John Cena. So that was the last thing that really came about Zeb Coulter. And that is your releasings for the WWE. 8 superstars announced were granted their release. They were just released from the company today. Like I said, the big superstar, Wade Barrett, Stu Bennett, Damian Sandow is also there. But there's a lot of guys in this list that can end up going to TNA. Like I said, we got Swoggle and Zeb Coulter going to GFW for appearances. Alex Riley can be paired up with Eli Drake in Impact Wrestling. Maybe they can end up being becoming a tag team. I know the tag team division in TNA needs to be improved a little bit, and I think Alex Riley could be a nice addition to Impact Wrestling. So let me hear your guys' opinion about this. I am your host, Justin Kish for NexusSportsNetwork.com. Make sure you guys go and check out the website. We got a lot of great content on there for you guys. We got reviews of Raw, SmackDown, and past ECW shows, WCW shows, pay-per-view reviews. We got you guys covered over there on NexusSportsNetwork.com. My name is Justin Kish once again, and I'll catch you guys in our next